Welcome back in. Forward Pass continuing live. I am Justin Bino. Coming up, gonna talk some news, notes, and injuries, scores from around the league yesterday. But right now, I want to talk a little bit about yesterday's Dolphins-Titans game. What a game we saw yesterday. Dolphins win it 29-17 and lose two quarterbacks in the process. Chad Pennington, I was saying during the week that it was the right move at the right time for the Dolphins to make. Chad Pennington, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks to ever play the game. I've seen on two separate occasions plays that he made to Ted Ginn where Ginn was in the end zone, had two defenders in front of him, and Chad Pennington managed to arc the ball right over the heads of the defenders into Ted Ginn's breadbasket. I thought that it was also the right move given the leadership that Pennington brings to the table and a lot of the inconsistency that we saw from Chad Henne throughout the season. Unfortunately, Chad Pennington's stint as the starter didn't last too long. He's in for two plays. He got hit on an incompletion, then hit a 19-yard pass on his second attempt, then called timeout, left the game, didn't come back, hurt his shoulder again. I feel for the guy. I mean, this is his fourth shoulder injury throughout his career. Who knows if he'll be able to play again? Now, what happened to Chad Henne yesterday, he got rolled up, had a huge 305-pound guy land on his knee as he was taken down, left the game, and now here we are, both quarterbacks might be lost for the year. That hurts. But the hero of the game yesterday turned out to be Tyler Thigpen, the Thig Bone. How about that? Came in, did an incredible job. All right, it started out, Henne got hurt late in the third quarter, and Jimmy Cephalo, calling the game, he made reference to the rule that if a team goes to their third quarterback before the fourth quarter starts, they would not be able to go back to their first or second quarterback. That's a rule that honestly I never heard of, and that is why we saw the Wildcat make a comeback at the end of the third quarter yesterday. Both plays that we saw from the Wildcat, Ronnie Brown taking the direct snap, handing it off to Ricky Williams on the reverse. The first run that Ricky broke was for 20-plus yards. The second one was for about 8. And who'd have thought going in to yesterday's game that we would be seeing the Wildcat making a comeback and working very proficiently, and that the hero of the game would be Tyler Thigpen, and that probably the best receiving performance would come from Anthony Fasano. Now, I gotta admit, I was really behind Thigpen with what he did when Brody Croyle and Damon Heward both went down with season-ending injuries in '08, and he was basically thrown into the starting role, and Chan Gailey basically created the Thig Bone offense, although I think he called it the eye gun was what it was called. And Thigpen was very proficient in running it. And he was also able to make plays with his feet, which is honestly why I think Thigpen is also the perfect quarterback for the Wildcat. He can throw it. He can take off and run it. But Thigpen had himself a very nice outing yesterday. Threw the touchdown to Fasano for, I believe it was 9 yards, to basically seal the game shut for Miami. And I think that the Dolphins just might be okay with Thigpen as a starter. Don't know what they're going to do for the backup situation if Henne and Pennington are in fact out for the rest of the season. That I've been hearing names like Patrick Ramsey and even Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Leaf, probably the biggest bust in NFL history. And the other thing, you got to look at this from the Chiefs side of things. That I know that with what Thigpen was able to do yesterday compared to what we've seen from Matt Castle ever since he's been our starter here, well, I think we all know what that is.
It's an outrage!
Thank you, President Obama. The thing is, Chad Pennington, he went down for the year after week 3 of last year, and the Dolphins traded a 5th-round draft pick to the Chiefs for Thigpen, who, honestly, in spite of what he did in 2008, was never really given a chance. Pioli and Haley never really gave Tyler Thigpen a chance to even compete for the starting job, despite saying the politically correct thing throughout the entire offseason that it would be an open competition. Now let's go to Randy Moss. Yesterday, his debut with the Titans, his 3rd team of the season, he was held to 1 catch for, I believe, 23 yards, and that's it. I think Jimmy Cefalo, calling the game yesterday, pretty much said it best when it comes to Randy Moss. And I quote, "He's done. Plain and simple, he's done." And, well, I can definitely agree with that. Randy Moss is done.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
All there is to it. Randy Moss is finished. The guy's a punk. He doesn't care. All he's in it for is the money. That's the way it's been his entire career. Look at what he did, or I should probably say didn't do, the entire time he was in Oakland. The guy didn't care. He really didn't. And then, come on, the Randy ratio during Randy's first stint in Minnesota, honestly, I think that just goes to show what a pushover Mike Tice was as a head coach. And now to finish up the thoughts on what honestly was a huge, huge win for Miami yesterday, let's hear from Coach Tony Sparano.
Oh, it's huge winning a game right now. I mean, this is November. I mean, I don't know how many times I have to say that, but if you're standing still in November, you got no chance. And right now, this team, I thought, showed tremendous character here today. I mean, that's a good football team out there. Really good team, really well-coached team. Hey, they're going to be around at the end. And I thought our guys came in here. We talked about it at halftime. It's 10-10. And we just talked about getting out of our own way, kind of. You know, I thought the first half we were in our own way, and you know, I thought for the most part the guys did that. We got out there, we got the ball turned over. I mean, they're a tremendous team turnover-wise. We turned them over twice in that area of the field. So, you know, I was pleased. I was mostly pleased with the people that had to step up today. You know, Rashad Jones goes in there, does a heck of a job. Thigpen goes in there, does a heck of a job. You know, I mean, in the defensive line, we had a couple people having to go in there. So there were some guys that, you know, Pat McQuiston played a couple different positions today. So some guys that had to do a good amount of work out there, and I was pleased with that. We just needed to be able to seize it and make a couple plays, and I thought, the Jeremiah play out there, knocking the ball out and giving us field position. Again, we've started 84 drives, or had 84 drives, and 82 of them were on our side of the 50-yard line. So, to have the ball down in that end and then be able to take it and get a touchdown out of it, was critical. And then I thought the offense's drive coming out at halftime, even though it was a field goal, to be able to take the ball down, do that, use up 7 minutes, that was pretty important too. Tyler did a heck of a job coming in. One of the things I think our offensive coaches, we learned a lesson from the last time we played Pittsburgh in the last game of the season last year, and we lost those couple, quarterbacks. So we have each guy hands Dan Henning a game plan sheet with his plays on it. In other words, the top plays that he feels comfortable with. And we had a pretty good idea what Tyler felt comfortable with. The touchdown pass down there. He didn't take one rep at that during the course of the week, obviously. I mean, Tyler doesn't get a rep, period, during the week. But that was his play. He really felt convicted about that and made a heck of a decision and a heck of a throw. The ball he throws to Brandon, so we were able to get that called, and he made the play. So I was pleased to see him come out and be able to execute like that. I told the guys in the locker room, I thought it's a credit to them in that during the week, we spent a lot of time talking about people having to be prepared and spending a little bit more time, and this guy was.
Okay, so good input from Coach Sperano. I think it should be really interesting to see what's going to shake out with the Dolphins quarterback situation, what exactly the status of Chad Pennington and Chad Henne is going to be as it relates to the rest of the season, and it'll be really interesting to see what they can do against Chicago at home Thursday night on NFL Network on a short week. Still to come, next segment, going to go around the league with some news, notes, injuries, and scores. We're going to talk a little bit about Donovan McNabb, the contract extension, and God, Lord help me, we're actually going to talk about the Raiders. First place in the AFC West. I can't believe it. Crazy I was right. Stay tuned.